As a lighting programmer and operator, there are a few shows I really look forward to every year in Seattle. Bumbershoot is one of the oldest festivals in the Seattle area, and it takes place at the Seattle Center. This year I was contracted by R90 Lighting to be the programmer and operator for the Key Arena stage. In this video, I'm going to be showing you a little bit of behind the scenes stuff, a little bit of actual Showtime things, and some pre-production stuff as well. And for those of you who don't know, a Bumbershoot is really just a fancy, stuck-up, pretentious word for umbrella, which is really fitting for this show because it was a complete downpour on my way there. I got the credentials, now we're going to head over to the arena and flash some lights. So there's nobody here yet, and it's really rainy, and hopefully they don't shut down the outdoor stages because that'd be a big bummer. It's a big waste of money for all the production. But I guess on the bright side, that means everybody would come into the arena to see the shows in there, and that's where I'm going to be. Seems like we've been out here before. The last couple of weeks, it seems. I've done, I think, 3 or 4 shows out here. I've actually never been over here. I've never seen these sculptures before. It's like some Hershey's Kisses over here, and a monument to Neil deGrasse Tyson, I think. Is that what that is in the middle there? Back at the Key. Going in the back way. So we're here in the arena, and one of the guest LDs is doing their pre-programming. So I figured I would go on stage and show you around a little bit, show you what our rig looks like. Instead of trying to point out to you exactly what the design looks like in real life, I figured I would just pull up the Capture 3D file and give us a little virtual tour and show you exactly where everything is on the rig and how it's laid out. This isn't the full rendering view, this is just the custom layers view, so I can custom color any set of objects that I import here, and it just helps give a slight distinction between fixture types and how everything's laid out at a quick glance. All of the fixtures in this lavender blue color are the Elation 5R beam extremes. The yellow blocks are Atomic 3000 strobes. These green strips are Elation color choruses. They're like a knockoff of the Chroma Q Color Force, and the 48 meaning that it's a 48-inch long version. These large seafoam colored fixtures are Martin Mac Viper profiles, and the little red ones here are the Martin Mac 101s, little moving wash light. And we do have a small ground package that kind of stayed with the house system. Most times tours will bring in supplementary lighting systems that easily roll onto place on the ground, and we included a house package as well, just to give a little bit of extra lighting punch for the acts that didn't bring their own ground package. All of these things on the ground, with the exception of the 5R beams, are on rolling risers so that they can easily roll in and roll out for quick changeovers when we have to go from, say, a DJ on the DJ riser with the DJ wrap LED wall to a full band with multiple risers and their own ground package. This is a slightly older version. If you'll notice, the screen in the back is a lot larger in this version, and in real life we ended up splitting up the screens and putting them more in small sections around where the lights are as well, just kind of dead hung from the E-type Christie truss that we were using. But the lighting more or less is pretty much the same as ended up in real life here. And don't ask me what this performer was doing or who booked them or what it was. I was really confused by this whole situation, but I was asked like 5 minutes before this guy got on the stage riser behind me to point some lights at him so that he could do his performance. So there's that. So in this part of the video, you're actually seeing some lasers that are being shot straight up into the ceiling in front of the stage, just right in front of where the performers are. And this is for pretty lights. They almost always bring their own production and have all sorts of lasers and fancy things that nobody else really has. A lot of the headlining acts that come through the Key Arena stage have their own touring LDs, but for the acts that don't, I get to run lights for them on my file. And occasionally there are some LDs who show up without a tour file and want to use my file instead. So I usually spend about 30-45 minutes before the doors open with each of the guest LDs, showing them where everything is on my show file and making sure they're comfortable running it. And then they usually just run the show just fine off of my file. They don't have to do any programming. It's a nice way to save us both some time.
Alright, so since I got a little bit of time in between acts here, I want to show you my color setup page. Pretty cool. So this is how I have my MA laid out. So all my colors are on screen too. I have all of my positions in a grid over here by type. So my whole show file is like spots, beams, washes in that order. And then these are my movements. So you got like circles, pans, tilts, all that shit, and then different modifiers for those. And then over there I have my beam effects like gobos and prisms, all that shit. And then all my like stage look effects.
I've been getting a lot of questions in the comment sections of a lot of these lighting videos asking me to kind of explain how I have everything set up on my screens, what the faders do. And once I have my new show file fully figured out, I'm going to be doing a full video on that, but I just wanted to show you this sample section of me doing lights for Marshmello, and I'll kind of talk my way through it here. So this breakdown marks the first part of a new track. So in my head, I'm going to be thinking what sort of colors, what sort of shapes, beam effects, and movements that I want to be using when the drop goes into the full part. So I'm pre-selecting in advance all the colors, positions, and during this build-up, I'm just kind of doing really smooth, easy to look at things that fit the flow of the music, and preparing for the big drop where everything kind of goes full blast. I think that color and movement are the two most important things when it comes to matching the mood of a certain section of a track. So those are the first two things I concentrate on. You can see me selecting colors on my color picker on the right screen, and in the center screen I'm choosing bass positions and then effect modifiers to kind of move around those bass positions. And while I'm doing that, I also have a even odd type button that allows me to flash in half of the rig and then flash the other half of the rig to the beat. And it's actually a pair of buttons. So I'm holding down one button and then tapping the other one to the beat, and it makes the lights flash off and on in a particular pattern on the rig that I've pre-programmed. And right before the drop hits, I pull my main faders down to hide the fact that I've already enabled the movements and they're ready to fire. So then all I have to do is slide all those faders back up on the drop, and then you have the result. And then it's as simple as letting this effect chain go and then hitting strobes to the beat and, you know, hitting blinders to interact with the crowd a little bit. It's really not that difficult once it's all programmed. And I was really excited because I got to see Porter Robinson live. The last time I saw him, he was like a really small artist playing like 500 capacity venues. So this is really cool. Show is wrapping up. I wanted to take a second to kind of show you the rig up close. It's really cool because the design is like an old school rock and roll type rig with lots of grouped together fixtures fanned out. So, you know, it's it creates for some really cool looks. We had one of these 5Rs during the show, 5R Extremes. It's actually, where is it? That one, right there. The color wheel just kept like rotating and rotating. And even though we tried like resetting it like 6 or 7 times, it just kept rotating for whatever reason. So that was kind of a bummer. It was like the last act that started doing it. So that's something we'll have to take back to the shop and figure out. And these wings on this arena stage, just like totally made for some awesome side lighting. And we definitely need to do more of it. But one huge bummer about this is there was no dedicated front light. So we ended up using like 6 of those Vipers as pretty much a dedicated front light for all the non-DJ acts, which is kind of a waste of a $8,000 light if you ask me. And that's going to wrap things up for this video as well. Make sure to let me know what you think of the video down in the comments below, and make sure to stay subscribed for more videos just like this. Thanks a lot.